Sarah, stop. Please. I froze in the middle of the street, rain soaking through my coat, and turned to face him. Alexander Hart the Third. My boss, my everything, the man I'd spent 3 years loving in silence, stood there drenched, breathless, like he'd run through half of Manhattan to catch me. "You don't get to quit," he said, his voice breaking. "Not without telling me the truth." I pulled the resignation letter from my bag, the paper soft and ruined from the rain. "The truth. You want the truth." My voice cracked. "I can't watch you marry her, Alexander. I can't stand there and pretend I'm okay when my heart is dying." He stared at me, eyes wide, confused. "Marry who?" And that's when I realized I'd been running from a ghost. Welcome back, and thank you for choosing to spend your time here with us at Tales. Your presence means everything, and we promise this story will stay with you long after it ends. If you believe in stories that change perspectives, hit that subscribe button and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. Let's build this community together. Now let's get into the story. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let me take you back to the beginning. To the night I became his unexpected escape, and he became my impossible dream. My name is Sarah Andrew, and for 3 years, I've been the executive assistant to Alexander Hart the Third, billionaire CEO of Quantum Enterprises, the kind of man whose name alone opens doors in boardrooms from Manhattan to Tokyo. And for 3 years I've been hopelessly, quietly, impossibly in love with him. It wasn't supposed to happen. I didn't plan it. But love doesn't ask for permission, does it? It just shows up one day in the way someone remembers how you take your coffee. Oat milk, 1 pump of vanilla, even though they've got 1,000 other things on their mind. It shows up in the way they stay late on your birthday, not because there's work to finish, but because they noticed you eating lunch alone and didn't want you to celebrate the same way. It shows up in the way Alexander Hart the Third looks at you sometimes, like you're the only person in the room who matters. I told myself it was professionalism. The way a good boss treats a good employee. Nothing more. But 3 years in, sitting across from him in his glass-walled office overlooking the city, watching him check his phone for the 5th time in 10 minutes with the kind of dread most people reserve for jury duty, I knew better. I was in love with him. Deeply. Painfully. Impossibly. And he had no idea. "Everything okay?" I asked, keeping my voice light, professional, like I always did. He looked up, and for a second, just a second, I saw something flicker in those dark eyes. Exhaustion, maybe. Or frustration. Then he sighed and set his phone down. "My mother," he said, loosening his tie like it was choking him. "She set up another blind date." My stomach dropped, just plummeted straight through the floor. But I kept my face neutral. I'd had 3 years of practice. "Oh, that's nice." "Nice," he repeated, almost laughing. "It's a nightmare, Sarah." Some management consultant she met at a charity gala. "Apparently this one's perfect." Her words, not mine. He ran a hand through his hair, messing it up in that way that made him look less like a CEO and more like a regular guy who was tired of pretending. "She won't stop," he continued. "Every week it's someone new. Someone successful, someone polished, someone who checks all her boxes." He looked at me then, really looked at me, and I felt my breath catch. I don't think my boxes even matter to her. I wanted to say something. Anything. You deserve someone who sees you. You deserve someone who loves you for who you are, not what you've built. But I didn't. 'Cause I was his assistant. A girl from Bed-Stuy who'd worked 3 jobs to put herself through City College. He was a billionaire who'd been on the cover of Forbes twice before he turned 30. Why would he ever see me as anything more? So instead I said, "I'm sure it'll be fine. Maybe she'll surprise you." Alexander just shook his head. "Yeah, maybe." But I saw the way he looked at his phone when it buzzed again. The way his jaw tightened. The way he seemed to shrink just a little bit. And I had no idea that in 3 hours, my phone would light up with a text that would change everything. I should have known something was about to shift. I just didn't know it would shift in a way I'd never be able to take back. 3 hours later, I was home in my tiny studio in Bed-Stuy, halfway through leftover Thai food and a documentary about the Brooklyn Bridge, when my phone buzzed. Alexander ***, help. Trap. She's been talking about her interior designer for 30 minutes. Send the cavalry, asterisk. I stared at that text. My heart started racing. Could ignore it. Stay home. Let him suffer through one bad date like a normal person. I grabbed my coat. 15 minutes later, I walked into Marcello's, the kind of restaurant where the waiters wear tuxedos and the wine list costs more than my rent. Alexander sat across from a blonde woman in a white dress. His smile polite, but his eyes screaming, "Save me." "Mr. Hart," I said, my voice urgent. "I'm so sorry to interrupt, but we have a situation with the Singapore contract. The investors are threatening to pull out unless we can get them the revised terms tonight." The relief that flooded his face was almost comical. "I have to go," he said, standing immediately. "Business emergency." The blonde, Vanessa something, looked outraged. "You're leaving? For work?" "For my company," Alexander corrected smoothly. He turned to me. "Let's go." We didn't speak until we were outside. Then Alexander turned to me and he was laughing. Really laughing, the kind that made his whole face light up. "There is no Singapore contract, is there?" I tried to look innocent. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Sarah Andrew." He shook his head, grinning. "Did you just invent an international crisis to rescue me from a bad date?" "You texted for help," I said simply. "I helped." That laugh, God, that laugh. It was the kind of sound that made you believe in second chances. The kind that made you think maybe, just maybe, love didn't have to make sense to be real. If you've ever felt that way about someone, if you know what it's like to hope for something impossible, stay with me, because this story gets so much messier before it gets better. He stared at me for a long moment, something unreadable in his expression. Then he said, "Want to get real food? That place serves portions for hummingbirds." I had no idea that one rescue mission would turn into a ritual I'd never want to end. We ended up at Mama Lou's, a 24-hour soul food spot in Brooklyn I'd been going to since my sophomore year at City College. It was the opposite of Marcello's in every way. Cracked vinyl booths, a jukebox that only played Motown, and mac and cheese that could cure any bad day. Alexander looked completely out of place in his tailored suit, but he was smiling as he ordered catfish and collard greens. "I haven't been to a place like this in years," he said, looking around like he'd discovered something precious. "Too humble for a billionaire. Tease. Too real for the people I usually have dinner with." We talked until 2 a.m. about everything. His impossible family expectations, how his mother measured success in social connections, and his father had built an empire Alexander never asked to inherit. My dream of opening a bookstore cafe someday, somewhere with big windows and comfortable chairs. The loneliness of being seen as a symbol instead of a person. I noticed things. He picked every olive out of his salad but never sent food back. He'd wanted to be an architect before his father forced him into business school. And I realized, terrifyingly, that I was falling even harder. We parted ways at dawn, both smiling, exhausted, happy in a way I hadn't felt in years. I told myself it was just one night. Fluke. But when his mother set up another date the following week, and my phone buzzed with another's, I knew I was in trouble. Over the next 2 months, the rescue missions became routine. Alexander's mother set up date after date. A corporate lawyer who talked about billable hours, an heiress who name-dropped designer brands, a tech executive who treated the waitstaff like they were invisible. Each time the pattern was the same. Alexander would text. I'd invent a crisis. The Tokyo merger falling through, an urgent board member emergency, a system failure that required immediate attention. We'd escape to Mama Lou's and talk until the sun came up. Those nights became everything to me. I learned he took his coffee black but hated the taste. That he still sketched building designs on napkins when he thought no one was watching. That his laugh, the real one, not the polished CEO version, sounded like freedom. And there were moments that made me wonder. The time he defended my marketing idea in a board meeting when a senior VP tried to dismiss it. When he showed up at my desk with soup and crackers after I'd called in sick. The way he'd look at me sometimes, Like I was the only person in the room who mattered. Maybe, just maybe, he felt something too. But then reality would crash back in. Asterisk, he's my boss. I'm his assistant. This is a fantasy. Asterisk. And then came the night everything fell apart. The night my car broke down and I couldn't get to him in time. It was a Friday in early December when my phone buzzed during dinner. Alexander *******, date with Jessica Gilbert. Mom's been raving about her for weeks. Management consultant. Help. ***. I grabbed my keys without thinking. This was routine now. Part of our rhythm. Halfway to the restaurant, my car made a sound I'd never heard before. A grinding, screeching noise that ended with the engine dying completely. I coasted to the side of the road, heart pounding. I tried the ignition. Nothing. I called Alexander. Straight to voicemail. He always silenced his phone during dates, trying to be polite even when he was miserable. Texted. Called again. Waited. 20 minutes felt like 20 hours while I dealt with tow truck companies and watched my phone like it held my entire future. Finally it buzzed. Alexander ****, don't worry. Jessica is actually really great. We're getting coffee. Asterisk. I stared at those words until they blurred. Have you ever had your heart break in slow motion? Where you can feel every crack forming, every piece falling away, but you can't do anything to stop it. That's what that text felt like. If you've ever loved someone you thought you could never have, if you've ever watched them slip away and felt powerless to stop it, then you know exactly where this is going. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry you know that feeling too. That was the first time he didn't need me to rescue him. And I knew right then I was losing him. Over the next 3 weeks, Alexander went on 6 dates with Jessica Gilbert. Each time he came back to the office, he was different. Lighter. He'd smile at his phone, tell me about the new restaurant they'd tried, how easy conversation felt with her, how she understood the pressure of his world in a way no one else did. My mother actually approves, he said one afternoon, almost laughing. I didn't think that was possible. Smiled. Nodded. Pretended my heart wasn't shattering into smaller and smaller pieces. Then came the day he leaned against my desk, that wondering look in his eyes, and said, I think she might be the one, Sarah. Think she might be the one. Those words echoed in my head for days. Every quiet moment when I was alone in my apartment, staring at the ceiling, trying not to cry, I started avoiding him, taking lunch at different times, leaving work early when I could fabricate an excuse. I couldn't keep watching this. Couldn't keep pretending I was okay. I wasn't okay. That weekend I made a decision. I couldn't stay. I couldn't watch him build a life with her, plan a future that would never include me. So I did the only thing I could do. I wrote my resignation letter. I typed the letter Sunday night. Hands shaking so badly I had to retype half of it. Tears blurred the screen. I kept it professional. Thanked him for the opportunity, cited personal growth, gave 2 weeks' notice. I didn't mention that leaving was the only way to survive loving him. Monday morning, I arrived at 7 a.m. before anyone else. I printed the letter, sealed it in an envelope, and placed it in the center of Alexander's desk where he couldn't miss it. Then I sat at my own desk and waited, heart pounding so hard I thought it might crack my ribs. At 8:30, Alexander walked in, humming something under his breath. He was carrying 2 coffees, one for him, one for me, like he always did. Like this was just another normal Monday. Then he saw the envelope. The humming stopped. His whole body went still. I watched through the glass wall as he picked it up, turned it over, saw his name in my handwriting. He opened it slowly, pulled out the single page and read. The color drained from his face. When he looked up, his eyes found mine, and there was something in them I'd never seen before. Panic, maybe. Or heartbreak. Sarah, he said, his voice tight. We need to talk. My office. Now. I followed him into that glass-walled office, and I knew, whatever happened next would change everything. He closed the door behind us. The click echoed like a gunshot. Why are you leaving? His voice was steady, but his hands weren't. Don't lie to me, Sarah. I tried to keep it together. It's a good opportunity. Better pay. Room for growth. This is about Jessica, isn't it? The words hit me like a physical blow. I couldn't breathe. Yes, I whispered. Then louder, because 3 years of silence was breaking open inside me. Yes, because I can't do this anymore. I can't come into this office every day and be professional when all I want is to tell you how I really feel. His eyes widened, but I couldn't stop now. I'm in love with you, Alexander. I've been for 3 years. Those rescue missions. They were the best nights of my life. And watching you fall for Jessica, hearing you say she might be the one, it killed me. Every single time you said her name, it killed me a little more. Silence. Then, I broke up with Jessica. 2 days ago. My world stopped spinning. I kept comparing her to you, he said, his voice breaking. Every conversation, every dinner. I wished it was you. I've been in love with you since that first rescue mission. Maybe longer. I thought you'd never see me as anything but your boss. So I tried to move on. He stepped closer. But I can't, Sarah. I can't stop loving you. The rain started then. And I ran. I didn't mean to, but I ran. I ran out of the building into the rain, overwhelmed, terrified by what I'd just confessed, by what he'd said back. Sarah, stop. His voice cut through the rain like a blade. I turned, heart hammering, and there he was. Alexander Hart the Third, drenched, standing in the middle of Park Avenue like a man who'd lost his mind. You don't get to quit, he said, breathless. Not like this. Not without telling me why. He laughed, broken. Because I can't watch you marry her, Alexander. Marry who? His face twisted in confusion. And suddenly I understood. He broke up with Jessica. There was no wedding. No future with her. I'd been running from a ghost. We stood there in the rain, both drenched, both finally seeing each other clearly. He stepped closer. I'm not marrying anyone. Unless it's you. Someday. If you'll have me. I laughed through tears. And then we were kissing in the rain, cinematic and messy and perfect. I spent 3 years believing love like this wasn't meant for someone like me. That fairy tales belonged to other people. But standing there in the rain, his hands in mine, I realized something. The best love stories aren't the ones that make sense. They're the ones that make you brave enough to believe. If this story made you feel something, if it reminded you that love is worth the risk, worth the fear, worth the wait, then maybe you needed to hear it as much as I needed to live it. Thank you for staying. Thank you for believing with me. 6 months later, I'm still at my desk. Alexander still brings me coffee. Oat milk, 1 pump vanilla. But now when he sets it down, he kisses my forehead. The rescue missions are over. But the love story is just beginning. Turns out the best rescue mission of all was the one where we saved each other.